We're going to be drinking wine.
Any excuse to drink is fine. But I thought it would be fun. And
So-
why not with Al?
Word! That's what I'm
Why not with Al?
My name's Dan. Welcome to Pour and Pedal Wine Tours.
Okay, we just pick any bike we want.
You know, the trick is just to really just clear your aura and let your bike pick you.
Wow.
So before there was refrigeration, right, there was two ways of making making champagne. One was called method champenois, which is obviously French, which is the traditional way of making champagne, where the yeast is eventually disengorged through a freezing process. They freeze the yeast in the neck of the bottle. That's why they store. If you ever see how they store champagne, they store it neck down, you know, in the storage areas. Now, Petulant Natural is an interesting thing because the way they do it is when they introduce, so they wait for the wine juice to ferment, they lightly filter it, and then when they add the wild yeast, the yeast begins to eat the sugars, right, making alcohol. And what they do is, instead of putting a porous cork in, they put a crown cap on, which is what you would see on a glass bottle of soda, right? And what that does is, when the yeast is eating the sugars, a natural byproduct of that is CO2. With that crown cap on there, it forces the CO2 back into the liquid, making super sparkling wine.
When we do wine tastings, we start with light, and we kind of move progressively to darker. It's also, I mean, it's not that warm out today, so the reds aren't as bad. But a lot of times, you kind of like to work from lighter to darker. Now, there's some people believe that you're better off having nothing in your glass than if there's a drop of red wine before you pour a little bit of white wine. That's actually a misnomer. A lot of times, if you're at a restaurant, you might notice that the somm will actually pour just a splash into a glass, rinse it, and put that. That actually coats the side of the glass, so that when you pour the next wine in there, it doesn't have any impact from anything that might be residual in the glass. So even if you had just a drop of red wine, and some people are like, oh, I can't put white wine in a glass that had red wine, give it a little swirl, drop it out. It's actually better than getting a fresh glass.
These guys know a lot about wine and dirt. A lot about dirt.
That's soil, that's heating
That's
soil.
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 I mean, they are the experts, right?
It's like wine hipsters. It's crazy. Your first vineyard experience.
I popped my cherry today.
What did you think?
I loved it.
There you go.
I'll be back.
It was awesome. Thank you so much.
Can you tell us your name?
Rich Cato.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you, Al. Thank you, everybody. Today was a lot of fun.
At the end of the,
it's going to be good.
At the end of the day, we all look good. This is there, you know, we like wine. We get better with age.
Right. The older the berry,
the sweeter the juice.
that's what they say.